Good morning, everyone. Today is Wednesday, May 10th. It is just after 8:30 a.m. Let's take a look at the news for today. Today is Wednesday, so we know that we have crude inventories, so we do tend to expect choppier mornings on Wednesdays. Here's crude oil at 10:30. That's the only thing we have this morning. So we will be expecting a bit of a choppy opening. We'll actually see if that's what we get. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to take care of one thing on my other screen. Sorry about this. Okay. So let's come in here, adjust our levels for yesterday and overnight. So value area low, VPOC, value area high. Before I put this there, let me grab my overnight high. Value area high, and where's my overnight low? And looks like here's my overnight VPOC. There we go. Okay, so we are just about 100% net long overnight. Just something to keep in mind. Again, it doesn't seem to hold nearly as much weight in crude as it does in the S&P, but definitely we could see just a nice uptrend all night long, even now kind of close to the overnight high. If we scroll back into yesterday's trading, let's see what that looked like. Okay. So we made a push all the way down to 40, 45, 50. And then have bounced up from there. Once we got back into yesterday's value area, we see how the value area low held nicely, held again overnight, and then we just started pushing up. Okay. Let's shrink this and bring in our hourly chart. So we can see we are consolidating down here right now. We've had a real strong downtrend all the way from 53. We're now consolidating down at the between 47 and 45, 25. So less than a 200 tick range in this area of consolidation. Of course, with the reports coming out today, that can always lead to some more activity. So we are going to draw in a micro composite. We have a few days of complete balance. So we're going to start it here and stretch it out to include yesterday. And I like having my micro composites pointing inward from right. There we go. And we're going to also start stretching this out a bit. Really not much more to look at other than what is, currently been active trading. We'll give ourselves enough room above and below just to make sure we see all the levels we need. 46.46 is where we're trading right now. So puts that right around center. This gives us almost 200 ticks above, 200 ticks below. Plenty of room to do our homework. Also, we can see that yesterday's VPOC from here happens to coincide with microcomposite VPOC. So those are in the same place. So we're going to want to make sure that we make a note of microcomposite VPOC. Let me think of what's a good way to do that. Will not work. No. Okay. Let's just get this somewhere I can work with it. Turn this to red. And now I have a microcomposite VPOC. Now it's hidden underneath yesterday's VPOC, but when we move yesterday's VPOC tomorrow, then the microcomposite VPOC will be exposed. All right, let's make sure there are no levels that we breached yesterday that need to come off the chart. Here is yesterday's open. So in this area of trading, we did breach this swing, and we breached it in both directions actually several times. So that's going to go. We're going to use that to mark off yesterday's low, and then I'm just going to copy and paste it and move it up towards yesterday's high. We do have this level that we tested, but this level I actually like. Although we pushed through it, we came right back above it and then stayed above it. So I do like this. We also see that this level held here a couple of times, coming to test during this candle, ultimately bouncing away, coming to test during this candle, ultimately bouncing away until we break through it, but then immediately get back above it in the following candle and hold above it. And we saw overnight that we, based on where this overnight low is, we have not yet again tested it. So we closed here, pushed down to the overnight low, which coincides with value area low, and then started drifting upwards from there. Now let's see what we can come up with as some hypotheses. So currently we are trading up here, 46.46. So hypo 1 for us, if my pen will work, and usually in the morning it doesn't. All right. Okay. So first thing we're going to watch for is a pull back towards overnight VPOC, value area high. We are opening inside yesterday's range, inside yesterday's value. Actually, technically right now we're slightly gapped up. Here's yesterday's high here. So we are slightly gapped up. We would look for hypo 1 is a pulled back into yesterday's range, come to test value area high, see if value area high can hold, turn back up, ultimately making its way up towards the upper end of this these three swings here. Now, remember this gap area here, we have not tested this now ever since it was created. So we still need to see if we get into here, we would be expecting us to push through it. So that's going to be, oh, what in the world? That's going to be part of hypo 1 is going to be getting into this gap zone and ultimately pushing through it. Let's get rid of this there. Okay. That's going to be hypo 1. Then hypo 2 is going to be a push up away from the gap. Now, at this point, the gap is very small, so we would certainly expect it to be filled. Hypo 2 is going to be push up away from the gap, test overnight high, test the swing high, possibly all of these swing highs. This move could fail at any one of these, and ultimately it could fail. This move could fail as early as overnight high, in my opinion, and then ultimately a turn down back into yesterday's range, traversing through the range and coming to test overnight low, value area low, and ultimately low of day from yesterday. That's going to be hypo 2. And hypo 3 going to be an open push down, test value area high, break value area high, and start pushing a little bit more aggressively down towards the lower end of this micro composite. That's going to be hypo 3. Problem with this one is I don't really have a great reference saying, okay, if we get below, I would probably use value area high. If we get below value area high, then we're going to expect to auction back down to value area low from yesterday. We saw it got tested overnight. We saw it got tested yesterday after we got below it. So we're going to use that. If we get below value area high, we're going to start watching for this to drift further and further down. So that's going to be hypo 3. That's going to be it for oil this morning for the hypos. Get this out of the way. Okay, now let's do the same with S&P. So value area high, value area low, VPOC from yesterday. Move this one down to overnight low. Overnight VPOC. Overnight high. Now, bear in mind, we have not yet broken this high print, or did we? 2403.75. No, we have not. We have not yet broken the high print that was established in an overnight session a few nights ago. So again, I am looking for long opportunities here in the S&P. Although now with some levels above us, we would be more willing to try to get into a short if it's set up. So let's take this over to the, sorry, we are 100% net short right now, but that seems to be getting closed. We are making our way back up towards yesterday's close, so we'll see if that has any effect at the open. Let's grab in our hourly chart, and we're going to extend this micro composite to include that day of trading, and then actually we're going to further extend it to include this day of trading, and that will be it. We're not going to extend it any further. I thought I had it there, but who knows? Okay. Let's just shrink this down a bit and see what's happening here. So we tried to come back down into this micro composite here at the end of day yesterday, but we ultimately rallied back. Let's go take a look at that one more time. I want to see something here. Okay, so really just a smooth downtrend all day yesterday. Probably a good thing I wasn't trading the S&P throughout the day yesterday. Maybe I would have caught some of these bounces here, but I don't think I would have been smart enough to shift my opinion to turn it into a looking for short opportunities. I think I would have continuously been looking for long opportunities, and not that I see many that would have faked me out, but still, my mindset would have been wrong. So. Well, actually, this is nice here. How we come down to this previous swing, and then we get a nice turn there. That's actually a decent one. But anyhow, so we attempted to continue this downtrend overnight, formed this double bottom, and now started pushing up. Okay, so let's get back to our homework here. Our hypo 1 is going to be, let's make this a little bit easier to see, 92.25. Okay. So I am going to be looking for something on this chart seems off to me. Where is my overnight low? 1 second, guys and gals, or whoever. Overnight low is 87.50. Okay, so it's in there. All right, fine. So I'm going to be looking for 92 quarter. So we're opening inside yesterday's range, inside yesterday's value. My first and most desired setup is going to be a pullback to overnight VPOC and overnight low, showing us an opportunity to get long. Once that comes, we're going to be looking for a move back up. And again, I am waiting to see if we can't get ourselves back to all-time high, the overnight print. So this is going to be hypo 1. Let me also mark off a couple things that we did not. I'm not removing this level. I'm not removing this level here since it was just breached quickly by this candle and then turned away from. So we're actually going to just copy and paste this level, and I'm going to use that as the high. And I'm certainly not removing this level. This level acted perfectly as we would have, as we could ever expect. So let's go hypo 2. Hypo 2 is going to be a push up, get above overnight high, hold somewhere. Could be VPOC, could be value area low. Hold somewhere in the value area, and then start making our way up and looking for pullback opportunities to get long. That's hypo 2. That's honestly all I want to draw out for here. I mean, there are some ideologies where we can see this turn into a downtrend, but it's just not that's just not what I'm looking for. Now, granted, if we're watching in the morning and we see something set up really well, maybe we'll give it a shot. But for now, those will be the hypos that we put in place for today. Okay, good chance that we break the overnight high with S&P before we open, so we'll have to just keep an eye on that. Over 10 minutes till the open, so I'm going to pause this and I'll get back on as we get closer, okay? All right, we have about 2.5 minutes to the open. We are currently breaking highs here at the overnight, so wanted to get this up. Wanted you guys to be able to see that what's happening before the open, making us further net long here. And it's quite the move up right now. So Monday morning, so this is extending the gap at the open. That could change a couple things here, but still, our hypotheses of pushing up into that gap zone from 46.95 up to 47.30 still in play as one of the hypos. No negative divergence up here. Shouldn't say that. We do have some on the 610, but nothing on 987, nothing on 1597. So we're not looking for shorts just yet. All right. About 20 seconds to the open. Okay, so we're opening right at overnight high. Let's see what we do from here. Considering the strength of these the moves overnight, again, let's take a look here. I mean, it's a pretty obvious uptrend. Right now, we're going to be looking for opportunities to buy on pullbacks. Let's see if any of those opportunities present themselves. And the other thing we're going to watch for this open is if we continue to pull away from overnight low, are we going to set up some negative divergence for potential short opportunities on a move back up? Buyers stepping in here at this micro double bottom, now triple bottom. Let's see if sellers can get this to push back a little bit, maybe close this gap into yesterday's high. So again, buyer stepped in right here. I'd like to see this candle close a little bit more bearish so as not to be tempted to try to go long just yet. I think we might be setting up for the next push here. All right, let's see what happens. Let's be patient. Look for a decent trade entry. Excuse me. So we see sellers coming down. Let's look for areas where buyers start absorbing. That was one right there. Once again, buyers stepped in there, but not enough to push this up. Would like this pullback to come a little bit further. Really would like to get closer towards yesterday's high, but I don't know if that's going to happen. At least not yet. Nice response there by the sellers on that little wick above VWAP. Let's see if we can't keep pushing. Okay. Another test here of VWAP. We do show downward turns in all three of the BBs, but let's see what happens to those if we get a little closer towards the overnight high. Once again, VWAP held. Very tempted to try to take a quick short scalp here. Want to be careful not to assume that there's going to be too much activity because we do have those inventory reports coming out. So although we did see some nice moves right before the open in the last hour or so before the open, and then once again in the last 20 minutes before the open, don't want to make the assumption that that volatility will carry forward. Once again, that VWAP holding. We see how long it's taking these candles to form right now. Again, this particular candle now has probably been forming. Let's see, this previous candle closed at 9:04 and 11 seconds. This has already been almost a 3-minute candle, which is incredibly high for a 610 tick candle on oil. Once again, though, there's that VWAP held as resistance. Really have to be patient here. Let's go take a look back at yesterday during the same time frame. Let's go look at yesterday's opening candles and let's get a feel for, let's go a few candles in. So 9:03 and 41 seconds, 9:04 and 22, 9:05 and 54. So it's less than a minute to a minute, to a little over a minute. Whereas right now we just saw a 3-minute candle here. 9:07:08, 9:05:20. There's almost a 2-minute candle. Just things a little slower this morning, which not all that surprising to us. We know Wednesday mornings tend to be slow. This has really just been a slow drift down. really slow grind down here. Looks like they're going to continue to follow that path. And as soon as I say it, immediate buying steps in. Let's watch VWAP here. That was an interesting little shimmy there. Trying to get above VWAP. So far, we have another candle where the wick got above VWAP, but we're going to try to close below it. Let's see if buyers push this back above or if sellers can hold this below. Okay, so another candle where we wicked above the VWAP. The candle ultimately closed below. And let's see what comes now. Really not much for us to do here. VWAP still acting as resistance here. About 15 minutes till the open of equities. Just taking a quick glance here over at S&P, we've now traversed from overnight low, almost overnight high, and now we're making our way back down. I would love to see us get down near this overnight VPOC, yesterday's low right in this range here for a potential long opportunity. But we'll see. We'll see what happens between now and the open there. Wednesdays are always tough for me. Very few exceptions where we get some type of back and forth movement to trade. Wednesdays are tough for me. Okay, finally getting above VWAP. Although there's still plenty of time in this candle. Let's see. Let's see what happens here. So now we are in a pretty strong uptrend, right? But we are getting towards an area, a level that matters to us, negative divergence. I'm looking to start a short position here. But let's see. Before I do that, okay, I'm going to start a short position here. I will look to scale in. Might be a little early on the trigger pull here, but this slowdown above VWAP with the negative divergence, we did see. I was looking at and seeing sellers refresh on the offer, so those were my reasons for taking that first contract. This potential test here at overnight high with negative divergence, I have no problem with getting into a second contract there, just what just happened. But we are at risk of the uptrend continuing. That is certainly this is a bit of a more aggressive counter trend trade. This is a stronger uptrend. I like that it's happening at this level. Yesterday, this almost exact same thing happened at overnight low. Let's see if I can go back and find it. Let me see if I can go find it to show you. Here. So if you take a look at how we had this really strong downtrend, and then when we got here, we had real nice positive divergence, and then it's finally pushed away a little bit, and then we had another opportunity at it, and it pushed away again. Now, ultimately, it came back down, but I don't care. For my trading opportunities, they were there. So that's kind of what I'm looking at now. We're seeing buyers come in pretty good here. My rule of thumb is if I get that close to getting into my third contract, I'll take it. And if it goes against me, my risk here is 5 ticks. But if it goes in my favor, it's at least a 2-to-1 risk to reward. But in a lot of cases, even more than that. That was a nice, strong bearish candle. Let's get another 1 or 2 of those. See, now what we're watching for is we don't want to see VWAP and 21 EMA hold the support. We want to see us get back below it, come break current low of day. So here we have a candle whose wick has gone below VWAP, currently would be closing above, but we still have some time. Would really like to see this push down, get below VWAP, close below VWAP, and start to hold below VWAP. And part of it is obviously I want to see this price go down. I'm short, but the other part of it is what are other traders watching? Not the big people, not what they consider higher time frame traders or other time frame traders. I'm talking about small guys like myself and people trading 10, 15, 20 contracts at a clip or less. I know how many of that. I mean, we're all watching some version of a moving average, VWAP, things like that. So the more and more things set up, like that was not a good one for me. When we get the wick below that VWAP, and then we come up strong and close like that, that's not a great setup for me. I'd really, really want to see us, if we get below VWAP, stay below VWAP. Because that's one of those things that other traders would look at and also see, okay, this is the first time we've done that for a little bit. Let's see if there's some added weakness here and potentially get on board. But ultimately, right now, we are getting the failed attempt higher at the overnight high. Negative divergence on all 3 of the BBs. Here's another test at this VWAP. Little micro double bottom right now with the previous candle. Okay, so we pushed below it by a tick. Let's see if we can continue. So because of my less than perfect order entry here, especially this first contract, we've made a 10 tick move from the top. Unfortunately, we got missed by getting into our third contract by tick. This has been a 10 tick move from the top, so we're going to start paying attention if need be to close out one of our contracts here. I know it's not the proper target that we're shooting for, but let's just we have to bear in mind that our entry wasn't great, so we do need to factor that in. I mean, there's got to be a lot of people long right now, continuing to buy as we pull back. And I guess if one hope for us from an order flow perspective is that there is an area where there's a lot of stops waiting, meaning as we pull back, all those people that are long, there is a point at which they say, okay, you know what, I don't want to stay in my position. I want to start selling and getting out. And that could be the onus of a nice little push down, a long liquidation to the downside. But right now, every push down, and again, it's only a couple of ticks, but every push down to these to this micro double bottom that we now have in these two candles is being pushed back up by the buyers. It's as if sellers just don't want to sell at that one tick lower. See here again, they come low offer and they're gone right away. Low offer. Let's see if we're not hitting bids though. They're finally, we at least traded one at the bid, two more. There's some trading at the bid, but now we need to see these bids drop. Hasn't happened. Okay, so more trading at the bid. Now back up to the offer. I'm purposely commentating now just to try to give you guys a little bit of what what the order flow looks like. Just back and forth here. So right there we saw a little stalemate. Okay. Let's see if we can't trade some here at the bid. And remember, to know if we traded, you're watching the yellow number, that 457, because the contracts, the numbers that are in white with the red and the green backgrounds, those contracts can adjust without actual trades happening. People could be canceling orders, people can be adding contracts back in, but that yellow number is the one representing trades. And right now, the last few have been on the offer side there. Let's see if we can hit bids now. There we go. Come on now. Bids came right back up. See, so we want to see that 377 go down to about 300 while hitting these bids, and then ultimately have the bids drop. Did not happen. Didn't like that at all. Okay, so there's the open on the S&P. Let's start paying attention here as if there's nothing happening in oil for us. So we opened just outside yesterday's value area low. Would love to get a pullback down towards this area of consolidation. Pen not working again? All right, hang on. Okay, let's try that again. Would love to get a pullback into this area of consolidation. Look for a long there. I mean, it really looks like oil wants to push down here, but everything has been so slow. Even this, slow grind here this morning, the BBs are showing that it looks like we want to try to push through current low of day. This is crazy. Keep in mind, as we get down, if we get down towards this gap close and into yesterday's range, we are going to be watching there for some areas of potential support and looking for positive divergence and order flow. We would be willing to reverse this position and take an attempt to go long, but from where we are right now, this negative divergence, I mean, everything is set up to show a move down. What I don't like is how far ahead the BBs have gotten from price. The BBs have extended themselves down here pretty well, but price has not. That is not the greatest thing for us here. Now we have the S&P pushing higher. That certainly not going to help. I mean, even here, you have this tiny, tiny bit that traded at the low of day, and then you have this little spike here. That's not a good low. That's a poor low, meaning that looks like it wants to be tested again. I really don't like. I mean, okay, we're in this ridiculously tight range again on a Wednesday morning, but I just don't like that. We have these long wicks down here at these bottoms. It's just not pretty looking for the push down. Right now, really, what I need to see some sellers step in and make this move happen. Remember, we are in an uptrend. Okay, this is a counter trend trade, and stay up here at the top of this uptrend. I think the more and more people are going to be convinced, and buyers will be convinced that this is an opportunity to buy. So I'd like to see this pullback happen, get out of this trade, and look for potential reversal opportunities to go long. There again, just formed a double bottom there. Hmm. Very tempted to close this trade here. Big bid just stepped up here. That big bid is actually holding its ground as we were trading the bid. Okay, wow, that was I think we're getting close to legitimately being in trouble in this trade if we don't see this down here. Not much happening in the S&P yet either. I do like that it is coming to, well, it was starting to make its way down towards potentially testing current low of day. Would love to see the S&P push lower. Let's see if the S&P makes its way down towards low of day or if buyers hold here. Okay, sellers push down. Buyers came right back. I don't think that the oil inventory reports really have much of an effect on the volatility of the S&P, but we are still pretty much doing nothing on the S&P. What do we have? A nine tick range. Every ounce of my my patience is being tested here. Again, for anyone that's listened to me or that knows me, this is the hardest part of trading for me. The kind of sitting on my hands. Let's see if we can't get to low of day. Okay, so buyers have stepped in, holding it here again. Let's see if sellers can get a little bit more aggressive. Remember earlier I talked about a stop run. I would have to believe that if we can tick below current low of the day, we'll get a nice little quick 4-5 tick flush due to a stop run. But we have to get there. Every time we get there, it's being bought back up by the buyers. And they come again. Let's see if sellers can start hitting these bids. S&P pushing up there. I'm not crazy about that. So you see again, that yellow number, that 354, is barely moving. Now, I mean, it's literally frozen. That was nice. We hit some bids there. Now let's get some offers to come down. I mean, again, I'm looking at such a microscopic level, and it moving so ludicrously slow. I mean, so right there, what looks to be a strong push by sellers just stops. Let's see if now we have a large offer. There's another push down and then a bounce away. I'm closing one of these. I'm putting this stop at break even. I'm not going to take any more risk on this trade. If we push down, wonderful. If we don't, so be it. If I get stopped out and then it turns down again, so be it. The amount of patience this trade has taken for me to even just stay in this long is absolutely exhausting for me. So we're just going to leave this one alone. We see another attempt at the low here that immediately got pushed back up. At this point, if we get lucky, which is exactly what it would be, if we get lucky, we'll start drifting lower and not come up to stop us out. If we get stopped out and then it drifts lower, so be it. S&P really hasn't given us much of a trade opportunity. Oil has certainly not given us much of a trade opportunity. Basically what ended up happening with the way we handled this, our second entry at 62, we were able to make some money on. Our first entry at 57, we stopped out for the most part break even. So to give you an idea why for me it was time to get out of this trade, such a strong uptrend overnight. Our anticipation of the negative divergence running into the overnight high, pushing away. We did get that. We got a 13 tick move, but our entry wasn't great. So our second entry, that 62 entry, we were able to get. We actually got as far as a 10 tick profit target on that, but we didn't. I don't believe I closed that far. Maybe I got 7-8 ticks out of it, whatever it might have been. And then just about a break even plus one on the other. But because we have been sitting in this uptrend for so long, we also now have to look at the fact that these BBs have stretched out so far in relation to price that we look at that in two ways. Number one, another attempt at the overnight high, current high a day, absolutely could represent a decent short opportunity, but what's called the hidden divergence. For example, we can see here on the 610, we have matching lows, but a drastically decreasing slope. We have that on the 610, we have that on the 987, we have that on the 1597. Every one of them have that drastically decreasing slope, and that tends to be a bullish sign when the BBs get that far ahead of themselves in the downward direction while we are in an uptrend. That tends to be a bullish sign. So there's reasons on both sides. Oh, we just missed a nice little test up here of overnight high. Definitely going to sit on my hands. In fact, at this point, I will get a jump on some of the other things I have to do. I will bid you guys a farewell. Pretty much nothing happening today. As always, if you need to reach me, feel free. Other than that, I will see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye-bye.